won yesterday's race, and he's getting away. And here comes James McLachlan, looking down the inside line. A very, very serious challenge there as he went into Redgate. Looked at the inside line, carries a little bit of speed on the exit. That might give him a better run, maybe down through the Crane of Curves and into the old hairpin. Well, he's lost a little bit of ground in actual fact. So Matthew Bett, remember, who's got a lot more experience of these cars, is still there in second as they go under Starkey's, the old spot plug, the second commentary position here that you saw in shot there. So James McLachlan still in third place. Just terrific scrap between these two, and it's really allowing Lee Morgan to get away. You can see in the background we've got Paul Butcher running well. Now, I can tell you that the race officials have handed out a couple of 10-second penalties. Alok Iyengar had one for a position, starting out of position, and also Matthew Bett here has got a 10-second penalty as well. So Matthew is going to find himself at the moment on the timing screen. He's actually showing us third place. Now, of course, he'll want it of James McLachlan, even though McLachlan on final results, as it were, is actually 9 seconds or so down the road. So these two still got the time to learn to race against each other, because James McLachlan's told us that he wants to come and race in the championship full-time next year, bought the car, and he's going to be a very good addition to the championship, having stuck it on pole here today. Now, some of you might be wondering where Richard Mitchum is, and of course he tied up the championship at Alton Park, so we'll take today as his drop scores. Doesn't need to be here. Coming into the meeting, it was Alok Iyengar that was in second place in the championship, from Barry Armstrong and Matthew Bett. Barry non-finishing along with Alok in the first race. Alok's problems were, of course, the broken suspension we mentioned in part one. But here's the race leader, Lee Morgan, third in the championship, 243 points. Matthew Bett second on 261. Alok fourth on 242. And we go back now. We've got a real scrap developing here for fourth place. Barry Armstrong closing in on Paul Butcher. Paul Butcher, the Cambridgeshire racer, nice livery on that car, and you can see how hard Barry Armstrong's working. Barry, the 59-year-old. So it is, as we said in previous rounds, a very good mix of younger and older drivers. Barry Armstrong comes from Cheshire, married to Gina, who he says is a tolerant and supportive wife, and boy, do you need those when you come motor racing. He's got volunteer mechanics that help him out from Staff's University, and ex-short track kart driver, did motorcycle trials, fancied having a go at something different, joining Jedi at age 53, so age should definitely not be a barrier. And rather interesting, Barry on his commentator's information sheet said that his sponsors, well, he hasn't got any, he said brackets, it's his children's inheritance, which is marvellous. As he goes through into fourth place, but he's overcooked it, and going back past him is Paul Butcher, who definitely doesn't want to surrender the position. Cracking racing between the pair of them. Paul Butcher still there in fourth, Barry Armstrong in fifth. Down into Redgate now. I'll tell you what, Armstrong's really having a go. If you look at the body language of the car, he's certainly the more aggressive. He's throwing it around a lot more and trying to close in. Back with the battle for second place on the road, but remember the black car's got a 10-second penalty. Here's the race leader, Lee Morgan, still there, looking for win number 2 in this year's campaign. Other drivers to have won this year, James Fletcher at Cadwell Park, Andrew Dunn, who is not racing with us this weekend, but we saw him in the round at Alton Park. Andrew won both the races at the splendid Anglesey circuit. That was rounds 3 and 4, the second of the season. And if you are thinking of coming racing with us, this year the calendar made up of 7 events, as Barry Armstrong has another look at the chicane. That you've got to say that's his favoured overtaking position. Didn't work for him last time. Race leader still Lee Morgan, the blue and white car. And this is the scrap for second. Matthew Bett still there on the road. Now I wonder if James McLachlan knows that Matthew's picked up the 10-second penalty. Because what he wants to do is try and find that form that he had in qualifying and close down on the race leader, Lee Morgan, if he possibly can. But in order to do that, he's got to deal with the second place car there. Here's the scrap for fourth once again. Paul Butcher still there at the moment, down through the Crane of Curves and through into the old hairpin That's another classic Donington Park, by no means an easy one, and a very good one by Barry Armstrong, and I think this time he's going to hang on to it. Let's watch them as they come up in Schwantz and McLean's. He has held on to the position, so Barry Armstrong from 13th on the grid, a cracking drive up into 4th place ahead of Paul Butcher, who certainly gave him a run for his money, but he might not be finished with it yet. Around Coppice and down Exhibition Straight they go. You've got to say that Barry Armstrong's put a little bit of gap between himself and the 5th place driver now, and here's the race leader who's got space between himself and Matthew Bett, 2nd on the road, but remember with the 10-second penalty hanging over him. James McLachlan 3rd at the moment. That's 4th and 5th going through. Barry Armstrong and Paul Butcher down into Redgate. Paul a little bit too far back to do anything at the moment, but Barry Armstrong has proved. Oh, and again you can see just the slightly more aggressive of the two. Maybe got a softer setup on the car, and that seems to work for him here at Donington. But back with Lee Morgan, who leads the race. He's got a good lead. It's about 4 seconds over the duelling pair of James McLachlan and Matthew Bett. Into Coppice for the last time, and Lee Morgan, not content with taking his first race win in yesterday's outing, is going to add to it, and it's going to be win number 2, and he'll look for a lot more of those next year. He's coming down into the chicane. Here's the battle for 2nd on the road, and James McLachlan thinks about having a look, but he's just a tad too far back, and Matthew Bett is going to take 2nd on the road, 3rd on the time screens. Lee Morgan's won it. Matthew Bett goes across the line in 2nd place. Here's the pair that have had a great scrap for 4th. Barry Armstrong will take it from Paul Butcher. Down behind them it's Adam Walker with Richard Moorcroft taking a win in the club class. But Lee Morgan, 2 wins this year and a cracking race to wind up the 2012 Formula Jedi Championship here at Donington. Here's the result then. Morgan takes it. James McLachlan inherits from Matthew Bett. Barry Armstrong in 4th ahead of Paul Butcher and Adam Walker. The clubman's class going to Richard Moorcroft ahead of Benjamin Spurge. Non-finishes for Rob Sale, Alok Iyengar, Dan Clues and Mike Watton.
So Lee, after the first couple of laps, that was an impressive lead.
Yeah, it was a hard start to the race. Lost 1 place on the start, nearly 2. Managed to grab 1 straight back out of turn 1. For the first few laps, just to try and get back to the front, wasn't easy because there's a lot of wind out there, so it was affecting the car a lot. So once I hit the front, I just sort of put my head down and just went for it really, and just tried to set qualifying laps every lap.
What an exciting race, and some great battles between you and James there.
Yeah, good racing. It's always good to be in a fight where it's fair and there's a bit of give and take and some passing, so it was an exciting race to be part of, definitely.
Seemed to be weaving between you going into most of those corners. Were you aware of them all the time, on your tail there?
Yeah, I was keeping a close eye on him, and obviously I'm not going to do anything that's going to give him a real unfair advantage, but there's ways that I can be slow at a particular part of the track that puts him at a disadvantage, and so on. It's all just a bit of racecraft, but certainly I was very aware of the threat all the way through the race, and I was glad to try and maintain that position at the end of the race.
So James, great battle there with Matthew. Nip and tuck all the way, I thought.
Yeah, it was. It was tough to overtake. I couldn't really get alongside him. There were a few close moments, but it was pretty close.
First season we've seen you out in the Jedis. You come from Caterham's. What made you make the change?
I sort of have been looking at slicks and wings, and I tried a few things, and I really like this car. It's good fun to drive. It's very pure, and it's quick, and it's good.
What are you going into next year? Are you the Jedis?
Yeah, I'm going to commit to the season. I bought my car, so I'm going to do the season, hopefully.
Well, great racing. We look forward to seeing you next season.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Richard, a great win there for the Class A. How was it for you?
Yeah, it was a good race. I had an interesting start, a bit of wheel spin, but pulled away, and after the first corner confusion, we sorted ourselves out, and it went well from there.
I was going to say, about halfway, well, maybe a third of the way through the race there, fairly plain sailing for you.
Yeah, I had an interesting battle with Rob Sale as well, who's a Class A competitor as well. We overtook each other a few times. I eventually pulled ahead a good lead, and he dropped back.
What do you think about Donington?
It's a great circuit. It's my home circuit, actually. I've been here before, and I just love the way it flows.
Well, excellent. Well done. We look forward to seeing you again next season.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
So with the championship at an end, congratulations to Richard Mitchum on another title. Matthew Bett annexes second from Lee Morgan. Barry Armstrong into fourth place ahead of Alok Iyengar. Paul Butcher